Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Today's card is this very cute card, animals peeking over a wall, but it's a pop-up card. If you want to find out how to make it, keep watching and I'll show you. I will show you the card in some more detail, front and back, and when you open it up, it is a pop-up card. And you see it stands upright really well. And it's not a difficult card to make at all, and well, I did spend some time on the colouring, on the stamping, but the basic model in itself is really easy to make and you can decorate it any way you please. So let's take a look at the card itself. It's two pieces. There's a back piece and the pop-up piece. I'll start with the back piece. This is the thick basic white, which is 5/7/8 by 5.5, and I've put a score line along the long side, so the long side top, 5/7/8 side at 1 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to put a mask on that. So I'm using my grid paper for this, and then a post-it note, and I'm going to mask off the lower part, and I'm going to colour the top part with some Pacific Point, and the bottom part I'm going to ink with Granny Apple Green. I want clouds, so I don't want it too smooth. And I'm also going to ink the back of the card. And you see here it's not inked properly. It doesn't matter because there the pop-up piece is going to peek over. You see, so this is the inside of the card, this is the outside, and this part we folded over, and this is what's going to flip over with the wall on top. Then we're going to make the pop-up piece, and that is regular basic white. Make sure there's no ink on my fingers. Regular basic white, and first I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. So with the 4 3/4, with the short side top, that's it, yes, I do remember. The short side top, so the 4 3/4 side top, there you score at 1/2 inch. And you're going to use that score line to measure out the wall. Then I'm going to use my Stamparatus, and I have a Stamparatus trick for you to be able to stamp the wall. I've made a little Stamp-O-Majic mask for it, and I have no idea whether it's going to be the same size as it was. Oh yes, what you start out with is that you, let me show you from the beginning on, why not? Now then, you put your paper in, and then you take your stamp, and there's a bit of black there, but I'm going to colour over it so nobody will see. Then you put your stamp roughly in the middle of your paper, and you make sure that you'll be able to ink the other side. So here, paper, and then I put it roughly in the middle, and I'm lining up the bottom of my stamp with that score line. Have it on crooked, and then you can pick it up. And now first I'm going to stamp on this piece of plastic that I've adhered to my Stamparatus. And again I'm using, yes, I put my memento somewhere, on chair of all places. Oh, and by the way, I'm using the Peekaboo Farm. I'm a bit scatterbrained today, sorry about that. So I ink up my stamp, and then I stamp onto the plastic sheet. Now I know where the stamp is on the Stamparatus. Now I'm using a magnet to hold down my cardstock, and then I stamp, and I may have to stamp again to get a good inking. I usually do this with memento, especially on a photopolymer stamp. Okay, now your little plastic sheet comes in, because now I can flip it over and then move my paper and align what I've stamped with the next part of the wall. Put the magnet back on, flip back the plastic and stamp, and I'm stamping again. Now first I clean off my Stamparatus, and I'm using some stamping mist to do this. Then I can flip back the plastic again, and here again I can line up, and now it just happens to be exactly in the corner, so that's okay. If I want to, I can secure my paper and then I stamp again. And you have stamped the wall. And I've made the wall on the front of the card in exactly the same way. And then I cut the paper down to size. This was my prototype, by the way, that I showed you. Never mind. Okay, so this can go. Now I'm going to stamp the animals, again in Memento. I'm going to use my blends to colour. On my blog you see all the details, all the measurements and all the colours of blends that I've used, so I'll go and colour these, and when I've done that I'll be back. In the meantime I have coloured all my images. I've made masks and I've masked some of them off already. I'm going to show you how I make a mask. I left the piglet out, so I'm stamping it on a piece of masking paper, just in the Memento black. And then you fussy cut this. And I'm going to use these bits as well in a minute. So now I can put the mask onto the piglet. And then with the other bits I'm going to mask my wall. And now I'm going to do some more inking. I'm going to ink the sky, again in Pacific Point. And I'm putting a mask over as well, to make sure that I don't colour the wall. I want to ink the back of this piece as well, because otherwise it'll show rather white on the inside. So I just take my brush, you don't have to go all the way, but just these edges. You can see in my prototype, see it shows up rather white, and I didn't like that look. And with my finished card, because I inked the insides, it looks more neat. Right, so now I'm going to remove all the masks. Here are some white bits left. I just take a balmy blue blend and fill in any white bits that I don't want. So here you scored at 1/2 inch, so you can fold that over. Then this is the bottom. Along the top you're going to score 2 more score lines, one at 1/2 inch and the other at 1 inch. And you fold these over as well. And then you use your tear and tape. So this is ready for assembly in a bit. First I'm going to show you how I did the wall for the front of the card, because the wall is going to go over there, you see. Now I've stamped it and I've already coloured it with my blends, and now I'm going to cut a strip off, and I'm aligning it on my paper trimmer, and then I don't know how much is this, 1/8 of an inch I suppose, roughly that. Okay, will this do? Yes, I think it will. Yeah, and now I'm going to colour these two edges as well with my blend. Stick over. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you have to use a piece of paper which is at least 6 inches so that you can fit it over the rest of the card and then cut away what you don't want. Right, so here you have your card, here you have the pop-up piece. Now first I'm going to adhere the bottom part, so I'll remove part of the backing paper. That helps me to stick it in straight, and then you're going to put it in just next to the score line, and then you can remove the backing and make sure it adheres well. Then you fold it over and you remove the backing. You can hold it down like this, and then you just fold over that end, and you have your pop-up ready. Now for the embellishments, I've used some clouds which I've die cut from, where are my dies? The Give It a Whirl dies. These 3. And I've used some flowers from the Floral Squares, but any small flower would do, of course. I'm going to make those. For my small flowers, I have taken some pieces from my scraps which have adhesive sheet on the back. Then we can adhere them to the card. By the way, the clouds I've die cut from the thick basic white for the extra sturdiness. Can you see what I'm doing? I'll just check from above, yes. I can see what I'm filming when I look up. I know that when I stay on my grid paper it should be in view, but you never know, because my card may have been in the way. Now if you like my project, please click the like button. Push the like button. Well, you can't really push, can you, on your tablet or phone or wherever you're watching? But it really helps me grow my channel, so I would appreciate that very much. And if you have a question or a comment, please leave those as well, because I'd love to hear from you. I love showing you what I make, but I'd also like to hear what you think is particularly good or what I could change, so please do. I'm going to attach these clouds with mini glue dots, but first I'm going to stamp on this cloud, hello there, and again I'm using my Pacific Point, and there's my stamp, and I'm using the largest cloud because that's the only one you can fit the sentiment on, and then I'm looking from the top, from above. Yeah, that's a nice fit. My fingers are quite inky now with all this blending. Okay, so some mini glue dots. And I made sure that on these edges my clouds stick out a bit, then your card looks better. Well, there you have the card finished. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.